listening to Blue Collar Takes with your hosts, Pat and Ben.
Welcome back, everybody. Pat, it's only been a day and we're doing another one, bro.
Bro, it's been less than 24 hours. What's the deal?
Crazy people.
I'm like way calmed down from when I sent
Dude,
this
we were
earlier.
both pretty fired up. We were both fired up.
I'm
When I
still
saw
like
this-
I'm still like I'll go to jail for these kids.
When
Like
I
I'm
saw
still
this,
there.
I know it.
And
Man,
I have calmed down from where we were.
Yeah, I can't believe that when I saw it and I sent it to you, I was like, dude, this can't be real.
Yeah. All right,
This can't be real.
let's talk about it.
All right, so apparently, a school in Deerfield, Michigan. It's a middle school.
District 109.
District 109. The teachers in that school were having trouble with some of the students in PE class. The female students did not want to undress in their locker room. I wonder why, Pat. Why do they not want to undress in their locker room?
Because they're boys.
Because they have a trans student in their locker room who is watching them undress. So the girls in middle school who already aren't comfortable with their body, think about this, going through all the changes that girls go through, not comfortable with their bodies, have a boy now in the locker room who is recently new to identifying as trans, right? And they say they won't get out of there. They're not changing into gym clothes. They refuse. And what does the school do? They tell them, no, you have to. The girls refuse. The school says, no, you have to. Eventually, what ends up happening is Deerfield School Administrator Joanna Ford, Kathy Van Treese, and Ginger Logman forced these girls, stood by the door, made them go into the locker room, would not let them leave the locker room, and had the boys standing right there watching them undress. Made them undress and get into their gym clothes.
Yep.
What in the actual fuck is going on? Just think this through. These school administrators, and one of them was the super fucking intendant.
So I got their names, and I'm fucking putting them out there. It's the Assistant Superintendent for Student Services, Joanna Ford. Assistant Principal, Kathy Van Treese.
Treese, yep.
And Director for Student Services, Ginger Logeman.
Yes. These aren't just your typical teachers. These are the high ups in your school, right? And they have these girls stuck in the locker room, won't let them leave, and make them by force, pretty much.
It's force.
By force, right? The fear of retaliation, the fear of punishment, strip down to their bra and underwear in front of a boy. Now, you do like I said to you, bro, you take your happy ass out on the street, find a girl, stop her from leaving a bathroom, tell her to strip down to her bra and underwear, and see what fucking registries you land up on. You know what I mean? You're going to land on a fucking sexual registry somewhere. That's assault. That's some form of sexual assault. It has to be.
It has to be.
Has to be. And they're just like, well, yeah, no, you don't understand. Trans, right? I mean, how dare they? How dare these students feel uncomfortable changing in front of this trans student? How dare you fucking monsters? You fucking hold these kids in a locker room, force them to take off their clothes in front of this trans student. What if one of them wasn't wearing a bra? What if one of them didn't have underwear on? What if one of them was shy about her body or didn't want somebody to see certain birthmarks or whatever it might be? Or just for the fact that it's a boy and girls at that age are uncomfortable around boys. And you force them because you think you're so high and mighty and all powerful. That is just fucking insane.
It's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. And I'm at a loss. How can this fucking be real? How can this be fucking happening?
It almost seems like it's not. Like there's no way, right? Like this can't be real. That's what it feels like. So then I started digging, right? We when we talked earlier, we're like, well, let's go ahead and start digging and see what we can find, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went on the angle of I know that about 7 years ago, under the previous Trump administration, um, the medical term sexual identity crisis was changed. I remembered that the World Health Organization and the American Medical Association and the American Medical Association of Psychiatry, they all at one point just decided, fuck it. We're not going to say that anybody who believes they're in the wrong body has a mental problem, which was what sexual identity crisis was. And we're just going to say that it's just normal. They're just transversing through their space and time or whatever they're saying now, right? It's ridiculous. So I looked at it and I Googled sexual identity crisis, and here's what comes up. While experiencing a sexual identity crisis can cause distress and confusion, it's not a mental illness or a condition itself. However, it can be a natural part of the process of self-discovery and exploration of one's gender identity. Here's a more detailed explanation. Gender identity versus sexual orientation. It's important to distinguish between sexual orientation, who you are attracted to, and gender identity, how you identify as a person. There is such a thing as gender dysphoria. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5, recognizes gender dysphoria as a diagnosis which refers to distress experienced when a person's gender differs from their assigned sex at birth. Okay, so then we go on. The World Health Organization, WHO, has reclassified gender identity disorder or sexual identity crisis as gender incongruence and removed it from its list of mental disorders. Natural process. Exploring and understanding one's gender identity is a natural part of development. And a sexual identity crisis is not necessarily a sign of a mental health issue. When to seek help. If experiencing significant distress or difficulty coping with questions about gender identity, seeking professional support from a therapist or counselor can be beneficial. Affirmation and support. This is the best part. Affirmation of one's gender identity by others is critical. As family and societal rejection of gender identity, there are some of the strongest predicators of mental health difficulties among people who are transgender, right? Everyone has to accept them. That's the only time they're going to have a mental disorder is if we don't accept them, because then it becomes difficult, right? It's everybody else's fault. There's nothing wrong with them. It's society that there's something wrong with. So then I wanted to know about transgender bathroom issues. How many of these things are taking place? And I was talking about these girls who are forced to watch boys undress, right? This is what Google gave me. Instances of trans bathroom issues often revolve around discrimination and safety concerns for transgender individuals, particularly regarding access to public restrooms and locker rooms that align with their gender identity. Here's a breakdown of the common issues and perspectives. This is amazing. Discrimination and harassment. Transgender individuals, especially students, report being denied access to restrooms, verbally harassed, or physically assaulted in bathrooms that don't align with their identity. Forcing transgender people to use bathrooms that don't match their identity can put them at greater risk of harassment or violence. Many transgender individuals avoiding bathrooms altogether due to fear of discrimination and unsafe conditions or situations. The impacts on their mental health, experiencing discrimination and exclusion in public spaces, including bathrooms, can lead to increased rates of depression and lower self-esteem. The lack of legal protections exists. In some areas, transgender individuals lack legal protections that would allow them to gain access to restrooms and facilities consistent with their gender identity. Safety and dignity. Proponents of inclusion bathroom policies argue that such policies are necessary to ensure the safety and dignity of transgender individuals. Now, here's even better. We had just heard that it's the trans kids who are being accosted in these bathrooms, the trans kids who are at risk. Their safety is at risk, right? That's what we heard. This is an article from put out in UCLA. It's a study. There is no evidence that letting transgender people use public facilities that align with their gender identity crisis, sorry, I put that in there, increases safety risks. According to a new study from the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law, the study is the first of its kind to rigorously test the relationship between non-discrimination laws in public and public accommodations and reports of crime in public restrooms and other gender segregated facilities. So UCLA said, hey, we went out there, we found it. There's been nothing with trans individuals doing anything to anyone in these bathrooms. Oh, but I beg to differ. So here we go, and we actually look at this. This is a bunch of, I'll send this to you. This is a bunch of headlines. Virginia judge finds transgender teen guilty of sexual assault in Loudoun County High School girls' bathroom. That's one case. Oklahoma. Oklahoma transgender student charged with assaulting female high school classmates in bathroom. Three of them. He assaulted three of them. Transgender Wyoming woman convicted of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl in a bathroom. Another transgender student flashed 4 freshman girls in their locker room after a swim after swim class in Wisconsin. The teens were quoted as saying, "She just grabbed her thing and started wiggling it towards us." Here's another one. Teenage girl was terrified in the locker room with naked transgender woman standing close to her. Here's another one. Transgender suspect threatens to rape Christian girls and inject them with HIV and with anyone who's wearing crosses. That's a nice one. Male inmate convicted of raping female at Rikers Island Women's Facility.
No kidding.
Weird, right? Male rapist who identifies as female transfers to women's jail and subsequently assaults 6 females. Rapist guilty of attacking women before gender change, sentenced to female prison, has now raped 3 individuals in prison. A Los Angeles County judge on Thursday ordered Hannah Tubbs, a transgender California woman, to serve 2 years in juvenile facility after she pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl in 2024 in a bathroom. Sexual predator jailed after claiming to be transgender to assault women in shelter. Was assaulting women in a women's shelter. She claimed to be a transgender woman, went into a battered women's shelter, and what did she do? Battered women. Weird.
Yeah.
Transgender woman, 18, sexually assaulted 10-year-old girl in Morrison County. Violent pedophile who raped 3-month-old baby as a teenager is quietly moved to an all-female prison with mother and baby unit after having transgender surgery. Guess what this fucking person did in the mother and baby unit? Yep, you got it. Fucking assaulted the mom and the baby. Weird. Trans supremacist pedophile behind bars for second time on child sex abuse material and possession. It goes on. A trans-identified male who manipulated children into sexual activities was arrested late Wednesday in Citrus County, Florida, according to police. 33-year-old Diana Elizabeth Gorvera fostered a relationship with one child in order to identify his next victim. Oh, that's cool. Use kids to get to kids. Here's one from Michigan. Michigan school employee who called for LGBT lessons, mocked parents, is arrested for what? Pedophilia. Study finds nearly 45% of trans women inmates convicted of sex crimes. 45% of trans women inmates convicted of sex crimes. Dude, the list of this freaking article, it goes on. There's like 7 pages. That's just like 1 page. So, no, UCLA, you're not right. These people are having absolute problems, and the kids aren't safe. The problem is, and we said it yesterday, and this is what pisses me off the most. And forgive me, stop me if you're hearing too much of this rant, but
no,
we said it yesterday, bro. These fucking kids aren't safe.
Yeah.
You have a mental disorder. Until fucking 7 years ago, what did I say? 7 years ago, it was called sexual identity crisis, and they said you ought to seek mental therapies and treatments because you are not a fucking woman in a man's body. That's not real. You might think, you might feel, you might believe you're a woman, but you are a biological fucking man, and that is a mental disorder that is leading you to believe. And the problem is we've normalized it. Why? I don't know, because we're fucking letting people identify as turtles and putting them on a fucking mental health group, apparently, in some states. What the fuck? And because it's the virtuous thing to do, because everyone wants to signal and say, oh, you know what? This is what I'm good at. This is me being a good person. And this is the marginalized group of today, right? Because of that, you see fit to lock a bunch of teenage girls in middle school in a fucking locker room, strip them of their clothes in front of the male student they don't want to be stripping down in front of. That is a fucking sexual crime. That is assault. There has to be. Those fucking people should go to fucking jail. Point blank. I don't know why they're not in. Why are we not hearing a fucking story about them being in jail?
It's in Illinois. That's why.
The Trump administration should file
so they
charges against
they can go after him for Title IX. It looks like they can maybe go after him for Title VIII, for sexual harassment. I was just looking at I saw something from Awake, Illinois, that had posted. Let me see if I'll pull that post up quick. It says, it is a position of Awake, Illinois, that administrators at DPS 109 should be placed on leave immediately for coercing the middle school girls into the locker room and expecting them to change in front of the company of boys. It gives the superintendent's name, Mike Semick. It gives his phone number and his email address. Here it says, here are two strong reasons for non-exhaustive for cause. One, unlawful restraint, 720 ILCS 5/10-3. If staff members use coercion, threats, or physical restraint to force the minors to undress against their will, this could violate Illinois' unlawful restraint statute. This law prohibits knowingly detaining someone without legal authority, and a staff member compelling a minor to undress in a school setting could meet this definition, especially if the minor feels unsafe to leave or refuse. And then it has something about the Illinois School Code of mandated reporter obligations, that they can get charged for that. However, I saw somewhere else that someone tweeted that they should be charged with sexual exploitation of a minor.
Absolutely.
And that could be federal. So that'd
their
be
civil rights have been violated.
18 U.S. Code. Yeah, that's Title VIII, the civil rights.
Yep, their civil rights have been violated. That's where you should. That's where I want to see the Trump administration go.
Well, I'd like to see him go at this 18 U.S.C. Code 2251, and that's any person who employs, uses, persuades, induces, entices, or coerces any minor to engage in, or who has minor assist any other person to engage in, or who transports any minor in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce, or in any territory or possession of the United States, with the intent that such minor engages in any sexually explicit conduct for the purpose of producing any visual depiction of such conduct, or for the purpose of transmitting a live visual. It goes on for pages. I'm not going to keep reading.
Asses
but
on
it's
a
not.
fucking
It's
registry.
not just for that talks about the visual stuff, but it can be. It can be all of it. So yes, no, I want them to go to federal jail.
I do too.
And when they get strip searched, I want it to be in fucking front of everyone.
It's disgusting, bro. We have said this from the beginning. Our fucking kids are off limits. We have gotten so fucking crazy at this point with your fucking virtue signaling, with your fucking threats. Constant threats of, oh, we want to fight Trump, violence, violence, violence. Listen, the rest of us normal people who wake up and work a 9-to-5 fucking job, we're busting our ass, pulling shift work hours, 12-hour shifts, blue collar as fuck, day in and day out, we're usually pretty fucking quiet. All we want to do is be left the fuck alone, let us have our own little slice of the American dream, and get the fuck out of our way. We don't want to pay a ton of taxes. We just want to fucking be able to pick up the phone, dial up some fucking takeout order, and drink a couple beers and watch something fucking relaxing and raise a family. That's what we want.
Yep.
What we don't want is you thinking you can tell us the best way to raise our children. We don't want you telling us what's best for our children. We don't want you telling us that we are wrong on how or what we're doing with our children in terms of transgender or fucking abortion rights or any of the bullshit
Mhm.
that you want to pull on our kids with the indoctrination that's going on right now. For a fucking administrator, for a superintendent and a administrator and a principal to step into a locker room and tell girls you won't leave the fucking locker room
Yeah.
until you get undressed in front of that boy,
Mhm.
that's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
You belong nowhere in a school building of any kind, of any age, anywhere in this fucking country. You could take your happy ass to China. That's something Chinese people would fucking do, not something we do here. That's fucking ridiculous.
Mhm.
That is fucking ridiculous, bro. There better be a massive lawsuit and a hell of a lot of money coming these kids away. Like these girls are going to become the new fucking Covington kid. They better become the fucking Covington kid. That's
Yeah.
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so fucking irritating. I don't know. I told my wife, she was like, you're gonna record another one tonight? And I was like, yeah. And I told her what happened, and she just looked at me like she didn't believe it. And I said, there's zero chance I don't go to jail if this happens if that happens to one of the two girls.
Yeah, there's zero chance. If that happens to your girls, we're both going to jail.
We're not only going to jail.
That's fucked up.
It's so fucked up. I was shaking earlier when I was reading all this shit.
How? Yeah, that's it. Like how do you find that that's okay? And then you go down and you look at all of this crap, and I wish we could play audio.
Mhm.
This is such a great example of what's going on in our country. And it's not just I just said it to you. It's not just moms. It's liberal women in general. And it's liberal men in general. The virtue signaling. This is like Munchausen by proxy at this point.
But I think
See if you can hear it today.
Oh, I can hear it.
I think people underestimate to what extent privileged, especially white women, are willing to sacrifice their children for the altar of status. For them, having a trans kid is like winning the lottery, right? And you laugh, but it's really the case. It's very disturbing. They're the only ones bringing their kids to drag shows because for these affluent white female liberals awfuls, a man in makeup is like the second coming. And, they're showing dad or their husband or whoever how enlightened they are because this is what corporate media tells them. So they can't wait to bring their kids and show how with the program they are. So they are a menace. And this, in my opinion, is Munchausen's by proxy. They're torturing their kids for the sake of status and accolades.
That is a very apt description of this entire trans movement.
It is.
In schools. This is for status. It is for you're not protecting anybody. You can't protect one person and then not protect 5 others, right? What are you doing? What point are you proving? You're saying that it's a marginalized individual. No, it's not a marginalized individual. It's a person who's suffering from a mental health crisis, and you're trying to normalize it. You're telling everyone else they are the problem, and not the one person who thinks that they're a girl in a boy's body. That's the issue. That's the fucking issue. And by way of virtue signaling, you're locking girls in a bathroom and stripping them down, or a locker room and stripping them down, because you're telling them you are the problem because you're not accepting of this person's mental health crisis. You're not accepting of it. I don't have to accept it. That's my choice. I don't have to be you can't force me to accept it. I am a free person living in a free fucking country, in a free society. I don't have to accept it if I don't want to. I don't have to share a locker room or a space with somebody. They already had neutral bathrooms available. They had neutral bathrooms available, neutral locker rooms available, and they still made these girls go into this fucking bathroom or locker room, and they forced them to watch this. If that's not the greatest fucking virtue signal of all, think about that. Think of what has to run through your mind as a principal, as a administrator, and as the superintendent. What is going through their mind is, we are right, you are wrong. We are enlightened, you are trash. We are going to prove a point to you that we are powerful and we know what's better, and you don't get to have a choice because you're a girl, you're a little girl, and you will listen to me. That's using your
Mhm.
power of authority and virtue signaling to make yourself feel better for one fucking student. Congratulations. What if you just mentally harmed the other 5 students that you just did that to? Does that count? Does that count? Or that doesn't count, right? Because this one marginalized person who has a sexual identity crisis that we changed 7 years ago, the definition in the American Mental Health Association and their psychological mumbo jumbo that they talk, we've taken that out. The World Health Organization says, yeah, we're not going to recognize that anymore. There is no such thing. We're going to call it gender dysmorphia if they have it, if they're upset about it.
Mhm.
But really, what the real problem is with these people and their mental health problems comes from others that aren't accepting of them. You blame everyone else for their mental health problem? Are you fucking serious? You're going to blame us not being accepting of this boy going into a girl's locker room, and that's where his mental health problem starts, is because me as a parent or you as a parent finds that not okay? That's where the mental health problem starts? What about the mental health problem that is existing in our administrative staff in schools that are doing this?
Mhm.
You got to be fucking crazy if you think that it's okay to bring a boy into a girl's locker room, force girls to stand by, strip them of their fucking clothes in front of this boy who they already told you they weren't comfortable getting naked in front of, and you force them to do it. You got to be fucking nuts yourself. You got to be fucking insane. You are taking a huge leap of faith that your position is absolutely correct and there is no legal liability there. Because from a sane, I think we're sane. Are we? Maybe we're the crazy ones, Pat, but I think we're sane. From my perspective, which I would think is pretty sane, that seems like it's illegal. Or if it's not, it fucking should be.
It is illegal. It is by definition sexual assault per the laws in that district. Um, I I don't know. I'm just looking at the mom was berated at the school board meeting.
Yes. Yes. Did you see that
The-
video?
I haven't watched a video, and I don't honestly. I don't want to because I don't want to go back for another thinking I'm having
Bro.
a heart attack again.
Let me just tell you how this video goes. The
But
mom stands
I'm
up.
gonna explode if I see it.
The mom stands up and she is fucking livid, right?
Oh,
And she's
yes.
explaining her case. She explains everything that was done and gets through it, right? She gets done, she sits down. Another woman comes up and she's a trans activist. And she said, I'm glad I get to follow that. And everybody laughs. And then she goes on to say, our job as society is to protect trans kids from bullies like the mom who was just up here before me. And the whole room claps because she brought a whole bunch of trans activists with
Of
her.
course.
During her speech, she also fucking talks about a protest that they're going to be doing, and she like gets the shout out. There's a protest, like turns to the camera and thumbs up, like on Saturday, blah blah blah. It's like you completely didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
They are so fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah.
They are nuts.
Yeah.
How
I don't know. I don't know.
I just I cannot understand how anyone would think that that is acceptable. And you're right. If anybody did that to your kids or my kids, bro,
Yeah,
I
we're going to
promise
jail.
You do that to my kids,
Mhm.
I am gonna fucking come for you like a thief in the night.
Yeah.
You won't see it coming, and I'm sorry. That's just who I have fucking been too far around this fucking world, done too many goddamn things to fight for freedom, to come home and have my kids accosted because you think you have some sort of fucking power and you're virtue signaling. No, we're going to jail.
Yeah. The only difference for me is they're gonna see it fucking coming, and it's still gonna fucking happen.
Dude, it unfucking believable. And it's these. I thought about this a little while ago. I was talking about this with some of my family members, and it's also these same fucking nut jobs that are calling for violence.
Yes.
They're the same ones burning down fucking Tesla dealerships. They're the same ones saying we need violence in the streets. It's the same group. It's the same group. It's like, dude, what in the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that this was a month ago, and it's just coming out.
We're just hearing about it now.
Yeah. Yep.
How?
And nothing has happened.
No, nothing has happened. How are these people not in jail?
I don't know.
I would have called the police the second I found out that my daughter was forced into a room, was not allowed to leave, and forced to take her clothes off. I would have called the police instantly.
Yeah. Yep.
Clearly, the administrators are lying and saying, oh, no, we didn't force them to do anything. We explained to them how they're making this person feel, and they just willfully took their clothes off. It's got to be something like that.
Yeah, except for, were you in the fucking locker room?
Yeah, they were. Of course they were.
Yes. Okay. Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't
To you
care
and
what
I
the
think
fuck
we
you
do
say.
that way, but who the
Well,
fuck
I think
knows?
most investigators would put that together.
You
Why
said this
why
was
were
in-
you standing in there? This was Deerfield, Illinois.
So it wasn't Michigan. I thought.
No, I
Dearborn,
thought
Michigan.
I thought it was. Yeah, I thought Michigan at first, and then once I started digging, like people are fucking tweeting at the governor that fat fuck.
Yeah, he piece of shit.
He's not gonna do nothing.
No, of course not.
Yep. So
The only thing that they can do is rip these fucking teachers out and have the federal government rip out their funding.
the federal government's got to do it. The federal government's
it's
gonna have
the
to do
only
it. The FBI is gonna have to do it. The FBI is gonna have to go after him for the sexual exploitation of a minor, and Title IX, violations, civil rights violations, all of it.
That's it. That's
all
the
of it.
shit that's got to start
It
happening.
has to happen. It has to happen.
If you don't do it, if you don't make an example, this is going to fucking continue.
This is your example. 3 of them locked away for the rest of their fucking life in a federal penitentiary, and make it the fucking worst one you've got.
Unbelievable. And others are just standing in the streets laughing about this, like, hey, no, good job. You did. Those little girls, girls are terrible. They're terrible people. They're raised by terrible bigots and transophobes and everything. It's like the level of insanity that exists. I mean, you don't have a left and a right anymore. You have insane and sane. That's it. One party is like, hey, I don't want government fraud, waste, and abuse. I don't want fucking poison in my food. I would like lower taxes, and I would like to stop war. The other party is like, nope, we want fucking poisonous food. We want fucking big pharmacies to force vaccines down your fucking throat that don't work, that end up having side effects. We want fucking to chemically castrate your kids and, have access to them at all times with pedophiles, apparently. We want all these things. Oh, we don't want the Epstein list to come out. We don't want the P. Diddy files to come out. We don't want any of that stuff. And we want war in Ukraine and all over the fucking place if we can have it. And we want higher taxes. And we want to continue wasting money constantly because that does a lot of good all around the fucking world. One party is absolutely fucking insane, and I have no idea how they will ever get elected into power again. I have no idea. None at this point. You know what I mean? Like, how? How the fuck, if you are listening to this, could you ever think that you're going to vote for a bunch of fucking morons that at every fucking turn are trying to damage you, the American citizen? They don't care. They're so fucking stupid. Choose your fighter. AOC jumping around like a fucking idiot. Like, are you
fucking ridiculous?
It's ridiculous. They are so fucking far. Dude, they're morons.
Yeah.
They're not only morons, they're entitled morons. They're not only entitled morons, they're entitled morons who we've allowed to set up grifts and steal from us, the American people. And they might fucking be a little bit pedophile-ish if they're going to go along with this bullshit that's happening.
If they're going along with this, you're a co-conspirator in my book.
Yes, absolutely. Dude, what? How will you ever get back into power? You can't. There's no way. I refuse to believe the average American. All Trump has to do, or J.D. Vance has to do in the next election, is to start playing articles like this. Is this what you want to go back to? This what you want to go back to? Look at these people fight against everything they're doing.
But they have to go after these people too.
They have to.
Which I think they will. This just came out in the last day. So I think now it was on Fox News and it was on. I think it'll make its way at least to the administration, and they can go after him for the Title IX.
Jesus Christ, it's unbelievable, bro.
Yeah,
I hope they do. I hope so too. I mean,
I hope they go after the school district for the Title IX stuff, pull all their funding. I hope that the FBI goes after them and criminally charges these people. I hope. I don't know. There's got to be someone around there with a fucking brain that can fucking charge them. I don't know. I don't know where Deerfield is and if it's a conservative area or not. It's obviously not in that school, but if the county is, like if they've got a county attorney that can go after them, something.
Listen, and I'm going to say something right here that I think is going to be probably controversial, and I don't give a fuck. Here's the thing, right? And honestly, I don't give a fuck if one of those blue-haired balloon knot Banus lickers at YouTube hears this and doesn't like it or not. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't either.
Um, I have seen so many fucking classrooms where you walk in and they've got the Black Lives Matter flag and the Pride flag, and they're saying these flags are the equivalent of an American flag, and that's absolutely not the truth.
Hmm.
It's just not the truth. Um, I am sick of seeing this bullshit in classes, and I don't care about people who are gay. I don't care. I have family members who are gay. I have people that are my good friends that are gay. I don't care, and they don't care that I don't care. They
Yeah.
don't care that I have this view, right?
Right.
But they also know that there's a difference between having pride in what you are and who you are, and standing out in a parade naked next to a fucking little kid who's
Correct.
5 years old, right? They
Correct.
get that.
Yeah.
They understand, and those people, we all know somebody who understands that. And if they don't get that, and they think that standing next to a 5-year-old at a parade, even though it's your parade, standing next to a 5-year-old naked swinging your dick around, you think that that's okay? That is not okay. That is deviancy. That's what that is. And here's the thing that's happened. The gay rights movement has been turned into a big kink fest. That's what this is.
Yeah.
The gay rights movement has been absolutely fucking hijacked and taken over, and now it's the trans movement. And there is a giant separation between people who are gay and the trans movement at this point, because a lot of people who are gay are like, what the fuck is this? This is not what we fought for. You can't be deviant. You can be trans all you want and people would accept you. It's the deviancy that we have a problem with. If it was just the trans movement, it was like, hey, we want to make gender neutral bathrooms so that anybody can go in there. We can have a men's, a women's, and a gender neutral. Are you guys cool with that? And society would have been, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I'll call you whatever you want. That's just me being a good person. We've talked about it over and over again. Out of the kindness of my heart, it's no skin off my ass to use your
Right.
pronouns
Yep.
and call you whatever name you want.
Correct.
I'm fine with that,
Yeah.
right?
Doesn't affect me at all.
Where it becomes a problem is when you start dragging kids in front of drag queens, showing them up at story hour, having them come to schools and talk to people, and you're fucking indoctrinating these kids with fucking pedophiles.
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's a problem. And then when you virtue signal and you've got powerful people like a superintendent and administrative staff and a principal standing in the way and acting as judge, jury, and executioner and forcing people to take their clothes off to protect or to instill pride or whatever it is in one individual who identifies in that community. We have a giant issue. You go into these classrooms and you see these flags on the wall. There should be no fucking flags on the wall. And you're going to hear it. Well, it's the right to free speech. Then why the fuck can't I put a picture of Jesus Christ in a classroom?
Correct.
That's the First Amendment, is it
Yeah.
not? Why can't I do that? Oh, well, because separation of church and state. No. Separation of church and state was not saying that Jesus had to be removed from frickin' classrooms. It was to make sure that we didn't become a monarchy in our government.
Right.
You have hijacked it and ran off with it. And now what you're doing is saying, oh, no, my movement, my freedom of expression is okay. Yours is not. It's fucking ridiculous. If you can't have a picture of Jesus or the Prophet Muhammad up on the fucking wall or Buddha or whoever the fuck up on the wall, hey, you know what? Get your goddamn trans flag out of there. Get your gay flag out of there. Get your fucking Black Lives Matter flag out of there. You can talk about all that stuff all you want. You're not putting symbols on the fucking wall when only your free speech is recognized. All that shit needs to stop. All of it needs to stop. Bro, something needs to fucking happen. They need to go. I mean, the Title IX stuff is happening, right? But I mean, they need to go hard.
Yeah, I think so the Title IX stuff, there was that article. Sorry, I should have been prepared. I was just watching during our break. I was just trying to pull up the astronauts are returning home right now.
That's insane.
Let's see.
I mean, Do we even need NASA at this point if we have SpaceX?
No, that's basically what they're doing. Like NASA just does studies now, not
Yeah. Right.
they figure out what studies I think they still train the astronauts and then SpaceX just sends them up, right?
So basically, Title IX is talking about uh, women's sports, right? That no women in sports, or no trans women in women's sports, no men in women's sports, biological males. That's the majority of what the Title IX has been going after with these schools. That and basically your DEI bullshit is being cut out of schools.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. So it was God damn it. That's not gonna pull up. Okay, so the HHS Civil Rights Office finds Maine in violation of Title IX for allowing biological males in women's sports.
Yep.
Um, so they started, now remember this was the governor that got into it with Trump at the governor's meetings,
Yep.
and they
he
said, "We'll see you in court," and he said, "Yep."
Yep.
The Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights announced on Monday that the Maine Department of Education, the Maine Principals Association, and Greeley High School are all in violation of Title IX. Now, what's interesting here is the Maine Principals Association, they tried to skirt Title IX from the responsibility of the district to this Maine Principals Association so that they didn't have to follow executive orders and shit like that.
Of course. Yep.
They're saying no, you can't farm that out and use
Right.
it in your schools and not be under this. So the Trump administration expanded its Title IX investigation into Maine last week, citing violations of President Trump's executive order, stating biological males are not allowed to compete in women's sports in educational and athletic institutions. The Maine Principals Association, which is the governing body of high school athletics in the state, and Greeley High School were added to the list of Maine institutions HHS was investigating. The OCR also announced last month that it was investigating the Maine Department of Education based on information that Maine intends to defy Trump's executive order. 4 days after that announcement, HHS issued a notice of violation. They sent a letter to the three entities offering them an opportunity to voluntarily commit within 10 days to resolve the matter through a signed agreement or risk referral to U.S. Department of Justice for appropriate action. Says that they found that all three entities are obligated to comply with Title IX and violated Title IX. Says the Maine Department of Education may not shirk its obligations under federal law by ceding control of its extracurricular activities, programs, and services to the Maine Principals Association. The acting director of OCR at HHS said in a press release. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if memory serves, this is coming from that fucking high school basketball kid on the female team that just brutalized three players on a opposing team, right? And the team walked off the court.
I don't think that was in Maine. So
That
this
was
one
Maine.
was, I thought that was California.
No, that was Maine. A giant male in Maine school injured three girls during a girls basketball match. They ended the
Okay.
game early before he could hurt more girls, and he had to forfeit the game due to injuries.
Okay.
So this
So I thought
this was the video that was played when all the Dems voted against
yeah.
the
Okay.
voted against the bill. So look at this video.
Every Democratic senator voted against a bill not allowing
Yeah.
or banning men from women's sports.
Not a single Democrat voted in favor of the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. And
Correct.
I mean, of course, right? I mean,
Not
we
one.
just talked about it. They're fucking nuts, right? They've gone so far left they can't afford to come back to the right. But that's, I believe, is the video where this all started. That big high school kid, I mean, it's a male, obviously, and this kid's probably 6'1", 6'2", and the rest of the girls are, they're high school girls. They're not big girls.
Right.
And in the video, you see this boy go up for a rebound, and one of the opposing players grabs onto the ball, and he just chucks her to the ground, um, ripping the ball out of her hands, and she goes to the ground and gets hurt. And she's an obvious, like right away, she's in pain,
Mhm.
obvious
Mhm.
pain. Well, she was the third player on that team to be hurt by this kid, and the opposing and their coach, with all the kids that were getting hurt, said, "Fuck it, we're not playing.
Yeah.
This boy has hurt three girls in almost a similar fashion, and it's just not fair,
Yep.
right?"
Yep.
So there's a couple of things with this whole Title IX thing that's going on with trans athletes. It's not fair to women in sports, right? These girls have worked their entire lives when they get to like the Riley Gaines level, right? I mean, she swam her entire life. She worked all the hours in the weight room, all the physical training, the therapy, all the dry land training that she does to get into a pool and swim her ass off. And she has to go up against Leah Thomas, who was like rated 230 something among all collegiate men, but somehow shows up to be number one against, female athletes. Well, yeah, because there's an inherent difference between the biological characteristics of men and women, which is obviously we know that, unless you're the American fucking Psychological Association. Apparently, there is no such thing, but obviously, the science behind it is real, right? And it's dangerous, man. Like it's dangerous, and we're seeing girls get hurt. I mean, we saw the volleyball video. We watched that video months ago where that boy went up and spiked the ball and knocked the girl out cold, hitting her in the face with the volleyball. We've seen the softball video where the kid pounds a softball right back up the middle, and it didn't hit the pitcher, it hit the shortstop and knocks the shortstop into next week.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the freaking the boy on the freaking girls hockey team. That's not that was probably the most unfair thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's just it's not okay, and
Yeah.
this needs to pass, and it needs to be handled. And the Trump administration does need to use Title IX and go after everybody who's standing in the way. So
Yeah.
this may be a way forward. It's not going to stop trans in school, but it's definitely going to stop trans in sports.
Yep. So just real quick, that was in Massachusetts, the
Was it?
basketball thing. Yeah. I think the one you're thinking about in Maine was that track where that person jumped 8 feet farther than everybody else in the triple jump.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yep.
that was just before the governor's meeting, and then that spiked that started that confrontation with Trump and that governor.
Yes,
and then
because he quoted that. That's right.
right.
Yep,
So
that's what I'm thinking.
but Maine also has that representative that was censured, and she's not allowed to vote in the House.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Until she apologizes. So now she has filed a lawsuit against the Speaker of the House in Maine because they've left that district basically without a vote. She's not allowed to vote or speak
Yeah,
on
she
the
can't
House floor.
She's been elected to a position and can't do anything,
Correct. Until she apologizes.
and she's not going to
She's
apologize.
not. She's not going
And-
to apologize.
Yeah, absolutely not.
She should.
No, absolutely. She's taking a moral stand. Why would you?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Dude, it's I don't,
But
I don't
there's
even know what to.
there are tons of examples all over the place now.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
it's
is. It is
truly
sad.
sad.
It's sad.
You
So
sent me this.
You're right on the Title IX. They have to start going after them. And I'm glad that HHS is doing it. Now, HHS also opened up an investigation against California schools, colleges. They opened up one against California and against Minnesota because it's Minnesota. So Minnesota High School League had come out and said, we are not following that executive order because state law says whatever. Well, I don't care what you say. The executive order trumps, no pun intended, the Minnesota fucking law.
And Minnesota was where they had the trans kid playing hockey.
Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, and I don't mean to sound sexist here, but if you watch men's hockey and you watch women's hockey, there is a massive difference in speed, in freaking, you know, how hard the puck was being shot or passed, or it's just not a comparison. It's not even close. That's not to say I don't love watching the Women's Professional Hockey League. We finally have a championship team in Minnesota.
It's a very different game.
And of course it is. I
mean, you take out all
Listen.
the hitting. I mean, there's some in women's, but it's illegal, right? For the most part.
I mean, they have, what is it called? Competitive physicality, which is basically like,
Yeah.
you know, rubbing somebody off into the boards or forcing them off into the boards.
Right.
Which I'm
knocking
cool with.
somebody off the puck.
I'm cool with. There's a hell of a lot of skill in women's hockey, especially like collegiate and women's level.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch, but it's kind of like, for me, I love watching high school hockey. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the amount of like, I don't even know, like pride and emotion that goes into these high school games, or you see these games. It's friggin' awesome to watch. And that's kind of Olympic level hockey, at least for Canada and the US and a couple other countries, is like watching in between collegiate men and high school men's hockey. It's a step above high school, and it's a little bit under collegiate men. That's me being real. It might even be a little bit.
I guess Olympic level hockey, I would think that is it's. I mean, other than it being different because of the different rules, it's. I think it's right there skill wise with the men's collegiate
college.
Yeah, because you're taking the best. No, I know it's not the same, the speed and everything else.
Yeah,
but it's
not a chance.
It's way above high school.
Oh, I guarantee you, if you took one of the teams that won the state championship in the state of Minnesota and you put them against the women's Olympic hockey team, they would beat that women's Olympic hockey team by at least 5 goals.
Maybe
100%, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind, because the speed is just that much different, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm saying. If you take out the speed and stuff, like as far as like the competition level, that's how I'm looking at it. Not really like comparing the two.
If you look at hockey IQ, the women's team is way above. The women's Olympic team is way above because they understand systems and they run them perfectly.
Yeah.
If you are going to put in all the physicality,
it's
not going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. And go ahead. Sorry.
And what I'm saying is, I think women's hockey in the Olympic level is below college men's in that physicality level, but above your average high school.
100%.
I think they would walk into a high school and 9 times out of 10 they would beat that high school hockey team.
Yeah.
And they would probably even beat some Division III college teams, but I think that's where it stops.
Yeah,
and that might be sexist, but that's me being.
I wasn't talking about I was strictly talking about like, the competition compared in the sport, right? Like because you're taking the top people in all of the country and forming one team. That's what I was talking. I wasn't talking about physicality and speed and shit like that. Like yes, 100%. But as far as like knowing the game and being able to.
Yeah,
I mean, you're the best at your sport in the country. That's all I meant by it. But you're right. When you add all that other stuff in, it's a different game. That's what I was trying to. Yeah,
not even close. I can remember being a peewee and playing our girls' high school hockey team and beating them like 27-3, and the only reason they got 3 goals is because we had to flip our sticks upside down. So
yeah.
That's just the reality of it. And you're peewee, you're 7th grade, and you're going up against girls that are in high school, and it's just at that point in time, girls hockey wasn't a big thing. It's bigger now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
But it's still girls hockey, and it's not the same as men's hockey, and it's never going to be.
No.
That's not to say that you're not going to go to a professional women's hockey league and see a good team running systems, playing a neutral zone trap, running a power play, and actually doing really well, moving the puck and looking like a well-organized team, because there's a ton of fucking talent.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the best of their genre, right? It's just like softball. I go to all these softball games and I see these kids that are just fucking amazing, but they're never going to be able to hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, right? Not to say that a fucking baseball player can hit a freaking 75-mile-an-hour rise ball from 45 feet either. So I mean, it's just different physicalities of different sports. But I enjoy it. I for once Minnesota has a winning hockey team. We, you know what I mean? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the way. I mean, I watched more of the PHL last year, the PWHL last year than I did of the Wild because I'm so frustrated with the Wild.
Yeah.
But I was going to go on to this. So you sent me this last week. The American Psychological Association released a statement about Trump's CEO on biology of sex.
Yeah.
In section titled "What the Science Says," the APA, the American Psychological Association, makes several embarrassingly false statements due to their blind commitment to sexual pseudoscience. I don't even know how they can say this. So here we go. APA's organizational assessment and position are grounded in the best available science. This is from what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is a biological characteristic determined by chromosome and reproductive anatomy. American Medical Association, 2021, and the assertion that only two sexes exist is not scientifically accurate. What?
Really? Since when?
Okay.
Yesterday?
Okay. Approximately 1.7% of the world population is born with genital variations known as differences in sex development, DSD, or variations in sexual characteristics, VSC. Yeah, they labeled that in 2023. Everyone has gendered identity. Everyone has a gender identity defined as a person's deeply felt inherent sense of being a girl, woman, or female, a boy, man, or a male, a blend of male or female, or an alternative gender. Or an alternative gender? So, what's the alternative gender? The Institute of
I don't
Medicine
know.
in 2011, gender as a non binary construct has been described and studied for decades across cultures and has been present throughout history, Gil Patterson said in 2018. Physiologically, neuroimaging research has suggested that cortical brain volume in transgender individuals appear to be more like their preferred gender. Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
you have a mental disorder that makes you think that you're the wrong person. But that's not science. The science is they're just not male or female. They're whatever they say. But here's the problem with this or any other gender. Okay. But we didn't just do gender, we did identity, right? I identify as a turtle.
Yes.
I want to be called Terrapin, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. I identify as a cat. And now there's a litter box in a bathroom out here in a school in Wisconsin, kind of close to where I live. There's a litter box in a fucking kid's bathroom, and this kid shits in the litter box because they identify as a cat. This kid has 15 minutes of purr time where they can rub along their fucking teacher's leg and purr. What in the fuck are you talking about?
He didn't get hugged enough as a kid.
Like, what in the fuck are you talking? But apparently that's not a mental disorder, right?
No,
That's
of course
because
not.
you have sexual biological characteristics and you identify on what you want to be, I guess. This is the
Jesus
American
Christ.
Psychological Association, right? This shit has changed because obviously somebody somewhere paid somebody some money, probably fucking George Soros, and said, "Hey, we need to change this because we've got all these crazy ideas." And we're going to force people to do what we want by making some crazy ass shit and then paying kids to protest really loudly. Oh, and we're going to start this group called Antifa, anti-fascist, and we're going to employ fascist tactics that I learned in Nazi fucking Germany. And we're
Yeah.
going to go beat
Yeah.
people up in the streets, spray them with fucking OC spray, shut them down at free speech events, and protest everything they do and call them fascists and Nazis at every step of the way. And again, that
Sounds
was a
about
play
right.
out of that was a play out of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, and we talked about that in the last podcast. And at the very end of Saul Alinsky's fucking Rules for Radicals, who does he give the nod to as the great rebel, the first rebel who won his own kingdom? Fucking Lucifer. Like these people are fucking nuts, and what's the saying? The greatest trick the devil ever did was what? It was the greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince man that he doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I
Right?
think that's it. I think that's it.
Bro, this sure the fuck seems like if you were the devil, this is how you'd want this fucking shit to play out, right? Like
Yeah.
right is wrong, left is right, right is left, up is down, down is up, and there's like it at every turn. It's like, are you kidding me? You're arguing, you're voting against as a Democrat getting rid of Tren de Aragua.
Mm-hmm.
You want these violent ass criminals whose motto is rape, pillage, murder. You want them in our fucking society. You're a mom who is a giant Karen who's bitching at federal freaking ICE agents who's
Yeah.
screaming at them, and they find out that your daughter was being targeted by this group of 8 fucking Tren de Aragua immigrants right down the road from you, and you are bitching at them still. They just told you they were trying to abduct your daughter, and you're still like, well, you can't get rid of them. You're fucking insane.
Yeah.
Your level of virtue, you have so much not going on in your life that your level of virtue signaling supersedes the protection of your own child, right? Like I can't follow how these people, what, I can't follow who they are anymore or what they believe. It's like they come up with an idea like, oh, I got an idea. Let's let this fucking Leah Thomas chick fucking swim against all these other girls. And Leah's a 6'4" fucking male, biological male. Can swim faster than everybody, but doesn't that sound like a good idea? And then another person's like, no, I got a better one. Let's let this Olympic boxer fucking go in. That's a dude, and beat the shit out of this other Olympic boxer. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? The championship ended up, the gold medal bracket was 2 fucking dudes beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And they
She
took the
fucking made the girl quit.
Yeah, they took the fucking test afterwards and it confirmed it.
Yes. She made the girl quit. Remember, she hit her the first time the girl went down,
Yeah.
hit her the second time,
No.
and she said, no mas, no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You Roberto Morand and no mas, or Roberto Duran or whatever his name was. No mas, no mas, no more,
Yeah.
please. I am done
Yeah.
fighting this man over here.
Yeah.
It's like every time that they come up with an idea, somebody it's a one up. They one up it. Everybody knows the one upsman. It's like they have these crazy ideas. It's like, hey, what's the craziest thing we can think of this week?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Wow. I just can't believe it. Not a single Democrat voted to protect females in sports. Instead, they went with the virtue signal and they protected all the men who are trans women,
Mm-hmm.
biological males competing in frickin' women's sports. What does that say about us, man? What does that say? Like,
I don't know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Listen
So
to this
that-
incredible. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just trying to find an update on this story. The mother has filed a civil rights complaint with the Justice Department.
Yeah, she should. Thank
Yeah,
you. That's
of
great.
course. Yeah.
I wonder what'll come of that. I mean, that's absolutely a violation of her civil rights.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know. How long have we seen this take? This was all 4 years of Biden, right?
Mhm.
Parents at school boards. This is what parents were pissed off at school boards. They were pissed off about Drag Queen Story Hour. They were pissed off about pornography and gay pornography being put in elementary schools for kids to check out. They were pissed off at teachers trying to indoctrinate kids and saying, oh, you don't have to tell your parent if you want to identify as something else. You don't have to tell them if you want me to call you, Sarah and your name is Samuel. You don't have to tell your parents. We'll keep that between us because we educators, we know better, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were a psychologist. I thought you just went to school to learn how to fucking teach about history, math, science, language arts, whatever. I didn't know you also got a fucking master's in freaking psychology. So you could, deduce what's wrong with my kid. You can go ahead and, issue a course of action for them where I'm not a part of it. Like, it's ridiculous. If you take your kids to the doctor and they're 5 years old, Pat, are you allowed to be in the doctor's office with them? Would you ever leave them in the doctor's office and be like, here, you guys go in there by yourself at 5 years old? Absolutely not.
No.
Of course
No
not.
chance.
But when your parents send your kids to school and a kindergarten teacher who wants to force trans shit at him and is like, hey, this will be our secret. That's okay. Fuck no. And of course parents are going to go to the school board. And then of course we saw the other side of that. Now the FBI is looking at kids' parents for being what? Domestic terrorists?
Mhm.
I mean, that's the route we went here.
Yeah,
We went
yeah.
full fucking crazy.
Yeah,
We went
did.
full crazy. I
I don't know.
dude, I can't. How? It just, how the fuck are we here? A story where a bunch of girls are brought in by their administrator, by their superintendent, and by their principal, and not allowed to leave the locker room and forced to take off their clothes in front of a boy dressed as a girl.
Mhm.
How? How in the fuck did we get to that point? You know what I mean? And how the fuck are we, not we, you and I, and anybody listening to us is going to be like, yeah, that is really fucked up.
Yeah.
How in the fuck are they in the belief that they did the right thing?
I don't know.
How? You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
You know why? Because you're sane. You
yeah.
can't fathom how that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you actually are not a fucking nut job.
Well, it goes back to that video that we played, right? The soundbite that we played about they think it's fucking like the noble thing.
Yeah.
Like they're
Oh, yeah,
better
it's-
than everyone else because they're not bigoted because of it.
Right.
It has nothing to do with it.
No. Dude, it just drives me insane.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, man.
I was so mad when I
So was I. Yeah.
when I read that.
Yep. Me too. Me too. I don't know. All we can hope is that the Justice Department takes care of it, and the HHS is obviously they're doing it. They're doing what they can, and then they'll refer it to the Justice Department, and they have to pick it up and carry the water.
They have to. They have to.
They have to.
Title
They will.
IX's got to
They
come
will.
through.
They're gonna. Yeah, Trump's gonna make them.
I think so.
Yep.
Man, I suppose we should wrap up.
Yeah.
Before we go, what did you think about the auto pen stuff with Trump's pardon or with Biden's pardons?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what will happen with it. Obviously, I don't think many people do. But
I'm not real
who
confident
knows?
in the fact that it's going to be thrown out. I
No,
think it's a
because
good-
auto pen's acceptable,
Right.
and it doesn't really
for
say.
you or I. Or,
Yeah, it doesn't really say any. Like a lot of presidents have. I think Bush was the first one to use it, and he was overseas to sign a bill before the government shut down, so they used it that way. So like it's been now, if it's never been tried in the Supreme Court, like if it's never been argued, maybe, but it's going to be impossible to go back now. So like here's what I can see happening is that AutoPen goes away.
Yep.
But it's not going to change anything that's happened with AutoPen before. You'd have to go all the way back to Bush.
I mean, so how many documents have you signed in auto pen?
Have I?
Yeah, I've signed a pile. Right? I mean, my
yeah,
mortgage,
I guess that's yeah. I guess
So-
if you're talking stuff like that, yeah.
So I mean, I can't see like the intention on Biden's behalf was to say they're pardoned. He came out and said they're pardoned,
Yeah.
and he used auto sign, an auto pen. I don't
Yeah.
think that has. I think there's no weight behind it.
Yeah.
Do I wish there was?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I wish there
yes,
was.
So do I. I wish the AutoPen wasn't a thing,
Yes,
especially for something like that.
100%.
And
All right.
and the budgets too. Like
Yes.
I want any sort of law being auto-penned. Like if they use it for fucking signing letters to people,
Well-
like to Congress and shit, I don't care. But
I think
any
there'd be
sort of law.
I agree, and I think there'd be a big difference if Biden never said anything.
Yes.
If he said he wasn't going to
for
freaking
sure. Yeah, and
know what I
then
mean?
he
Because-
never addressed it.
right, because he's
Yeah.
also so mentally deficient that
Yeah.
you could be like, oh yeah, that person did it and whatever.
Yeah. Yes.
But Biden did address it. He did
Yeah.
say he was going to. He came out and said it. He read the
Yeah.
speech.
correct.
We know what his intention was, right? And I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Biden. I don't believe in him. I don't believe
Right.
he should have done it. But it is what it is. All right, next one. I wanted to run this one through you.
Yeah.
The World Economic Forum demands global ban on homegrown food
Oh
in
yeah, I saw
order,
this. I
in order
saw
to
this.
beat net zero.
Yeah,
You have to,
because I produce a lot of greenhouse gases when I plant fucking carrots with the girls.
right, right.
Hmm.
They want
So
you not to have your own food because you are creating greenhouse gases.
yes, yes.
That's
It makes
that's a
sense to me,
bold.
to be honest.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
bet.
nobody should be allowed to. You know what? And honestly, most people shouldn't be allowed to eat.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like
Especially food you grew.
it's just too much. No,
I
just
think.
any food. You just
Well,
should not be allowed to eat
I
because
think
that's
you should
just
be allowed to eat, but only my food, the food
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
am selling you.
Yeah,
That's it,
that's complete fucking bullshit. Like, good luck.
bro. That's it. That was pretty incredible. The World Economic Forum,
Yeah,
aka
yeah,
Klaus Schwab and the rest of the
yeah.
fucking
They're
pedophiles.
not going to meet their net zero if you keep growing carrots in your backyard. You
All right, how
son of
about
a
this one?
bitch.
The IRS has been violating the Fourth Amendment. They've
Dude,
been looking into everybody's bank accounts, and they know exactly what you're doing, and they want their tax money, but they're only going after little guys. They're not going after big guys.
no kidding.
Weird.
Yeah. That
Thoughts on
doesn't,
that?
again, that doesn't shock me at all because you look at what every other government agency has done, it's all pretty much the same thing.
It's all the fucking same. It's just, you're right. It's just one after another after another.
Mhm.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
Get your take on this one. Zelensky
Oh,
was
my buddy.
given $1.2 billion to build a holiday ski resort. That's what he's building off of
On-
the money that he's
Yeah.
been given by the European Union. He's building a ski resort, not fighting a war, building a ski resort on the complete other side of Ukraine.
Yeah.
I wish I'm going to send this to you because you got better audio than I do.
So if as long as they're, the people that they're taking out of cars and forcing into the military, as long as those people get free membership, I'm cool with it.
Free ski lifts,
Yeah.
the pass.
Yeah, they
whatever.
can go whenever they want.
Bro, the amount of shit. Play that video and tell me that that's not just fucking highway robbery.
Well, I don't have to play the video to. I didn't get it yet.
Well,
What's going
yeah,
on?
it's hold on. It failed to send.
It's because you're in the sticks.
Yep.
All right. Hang on.
God. In this man's country to fund his conflict for the past 2 odd years. But there is £1.2 billion available to build an incredible brand new ski resort. While this man's troops are defending the Eastern Front, they are building a huge new holiday resort on the other side of the country. The Goro Mountain Ski Resort will have 25 hotels, 5,500 rooms, that will stretch across a total area of 2,965 acres, with 41 to 46 6-mile ski slopes and over 10 miles of ski lifts. This is just sending billions of pounds over there to help them defend their country. Yet they have £1.2 billion to build a brand new bloody ski resort. I truly am flabbergasted with this, as I'm sure many of you out there are too. It may not be this man at the helm of this vast project, but still, come on, talk about rubbing it in our faces. I have lost count of how much of the UK taxpayers' money has gone over there, and now they throw this in our faces.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I
But
mean, the amount
but
of
to be
shit.
honest, with all the money that they've laundered, they have to go enjoy it somewhere.
Well, dude, did you see the report that there is more of a nightclub life in Kyiv than there was before the war?
Yeah. Yeah, that's been a report for a while.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, bars are really flourishing and nightclubs are flourishing there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, now one last one. I got one for you. The title of the article is A is for abortion. Public high school teaches ABCs for Women's History Month, and A is for abortion. Americans' public high schools are strange places to find displays of the alphabet, perhaps with the plummeting standardized test scores and a substantial increase in English as a second language students in the sanctuary districts have to fight for. High school educators feel the need to review kindergarten basics, and in Fairfax County, Virginia's West Springfield High School, located just 17 miles from the White House, school administrators and teachers have decorated the hallway with this month with a special leftist rendition of the alphabet. Bro, you should read the ABCs of this fucking place. It's amazing.
I mean, they're doing
But-
it because they're that close to the White House.
Oh, of course.
It's
A
like
is
throwing
for
it in their
abortion.
face. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna pick? A. You know, Apple's been overdone. A is always for Apple. What are you gonna pick?
Assholes.
Accountability? There certainly isn't.
Accountability. Wow.
There certainly isn't any accountability in the teachers union.
Oh, fuck no. Did you see Randy Weingartner freaking bitching again?
Yeah.
That was just
Yeah.
today. She was bitching about how, dismantling the education, the
Mhm.
Department of Education is a big deal and it's just an attack on kids. Did you see the breakdown of how much money they take and how much money actually makes it to the kids? It's like,
Mhm.
oh my God, this lady, you shut up, bitch. Nobody's paying attention to you anymore.
Yeah.
Get out,
Yeah.
get out of here. We know who you are. Get
Yeah.
out of here.
Yep. For sure.
And I'm sure Randy is absolutely defending these teachers and the superintendent and the principal and the administrator who locked the girls in the fucking locker room.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
So fuck you. You're done. Get out. We'll rip the whole motherfucker down and rebuild it. You've had your chance, and like that article just said, test scores are plummeting. We're like not even. What are we like 19th, 20th in the world for
We are low.
education? We're low, right?
We are low.
Fuck that. You're done. Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Time to regroup.
Dude, that's
Do
all
something
it is.
different. Do something
We
different.
have to.
Yep.
We have to.
Yep. Like everything else. So,
You know what's funny is we weren't planning on doing this, and then we both saw the article and got so pissed off.
Yeah.
we wanted to
For
come
sure.
out here and vent. We're
mhm.
venting.
We did. We did vent.
Oh, we did.
And we do not condone any violence. I'm just telling you what's going to happen if it happens to my kids.
That is correct. I don't condone violence either, but if you touch my kids, I will.
Hmm. Yep. I will help you.
Yeah. And you.
Yep.
I think we'd have a whole host of people that would help.
Oh
us
yeah,
with
no,
that.
we wouldn't even have to do anything.
No, we'd be all right. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that would be like, dude, I got you. I got you solid on this one.
Turned into a fucking, like reunion of
conspiracy.
sorts.
Ooh, yeah, we'd get there'd be some giant fucking investigation and be like, you did what with how many people?
Yeah, yeah. Too many fingerprints. They can't get any of us.
All right, well, I suppose let's wrap this up, man.
Yeah, man. Hit us up. Check out our website, bluecollartakes.com, Facebook, Truth, Instagram. We got some reels. We got some YouTube videos for now.
Yep.
So,
Thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one.
yeah, thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Blue Collar Takes. Oh, and fuck YouTube.